This is the third video I'm doing trying to be helpful. Um, there are two others, and if you miss them, um, not that it's critical that you get them, but if you miss them, I'll just pop them up in the corner, I think, on this at this point in this video. So if you wanted to take a look at them, you can check them out. Um, I wanted to address this issue of being a peacemaker. This is a call I made several years ago. It's a call I continuously make, particularly around this time of election. So, why? I remember when I was growing up, I heard the advice, which I don't think it's as foolish advice. So you take that into consideration when I tell you what my reaction would have been to it. Advice, oh, you don't walk certain places or at certain times in particular, in certain places during election time. Any other time of the year, you can do it. But during election time, there seems to be this hypersensitivity about where you go, how you interact, what time you go there. And there seem to be these fears and anxieties that exist among people about what elections day is going to bring, what's going to happen. And people anticipate the worst and they act on them. They fear and they're anxious about what is going to happen. And in many instances, what we see is that we get those emotion, that fear emotion, guiding their actions. If you catch the first video, I was talking a little bit there about online disinhibition effect. And in doing that, I referred also to the fact that strong emotions tend to take our brain out of rationality. And fear is one of those emotions that if we react purely out of fear, that we can tend to act irrational. We think irrational about things and we act irrational about things. And unfortunately, this has been something that has plagued us in the past. It's my hope and prayer that it does not plague us in this particular year. And in those hopes and prayers, I'm, of course, taking action. This video being one, other videos, other things that I'm doing. Let me tell you a little bit first before I suggest to you anything about what you might want to uh, consider doing. Let me share with you what I have been doing. So starting, I think sometime in 2011 it was. I think that's when I started writing publicly. And in November of 2011, I remember writing to the editors of newspapers and um, addressing this topic of being peacemakers, calling out to the nation for people to be peacemakers. Um, Over the years, in subsequent elections, one of the things I try to actively do is to speak out when there seems to be something that needs to be addressed, to try to be supportive and helpful, try to flag where there may be biases that are being exhibited that can lead along a dangerous line, try to find facts where there are rumors. I remember one year, it might have been in 2011, um, when there was a particular report about a certain set of people coming into Georgetown, making mischief. I left my office and went into Georgetown. If you hear any background noise, pardon me, I'm near the road. Um, but yeah, I left my office and went into Georgetown, went around Georgetown, checking out to see what was going on. At that time, really, there was nothing, just people reacting to the same news. A lot of people were just trying to get home. Um, and there was just that anxiety again that had built up about what was going to happen, and eventually there was nobody that was in town at the time, like I said when I went through, and there's nobody that ever went into town on that day and did anything on that day. They were just people for whatever reasons and by whatever means, I'm stirring up things. This year, as we were heading into elections, I maybe about a month and a half ago, threw something out there about a ride for peace. Um, and left it there, got a couple of reactions, and I was going to try to push the idea of getting a big ride of cycles from Charity to Molson Creek. And eventually, I didn't put any further effort into organizing that. What I did do was 2 weeks prior to elections, I started a personal fast. Um, and then yesterday, I'm doing this on elections day. So yesterday, the Sunday, August 31st, I started a ride. So let me go the Saturday before, of course, I had to take the trip up to Charity. That's where the road network starts on the coast. So I took a trip from Charity on the Pomeroon River, starting just about 3 o'clock in the morning, um, and then came down to Supernam, got on the ferry, 5 o'clock ferry, came across to Parika, and then rode from Parika to the Molson Creek Guyana-Suriname ferry service location, and then came back home. My family joined me on the quarantine course, and we got some food, and then we drove and came back home. When I ride, they were in the car. In transit, I stopped at a couple of congregations, I think about 5 in total. First, at Reed and Hoop, to the Reed and Hoop Wesleyan Church, then in Georgetown at South Road, Full Gospel Assembly, then up in Mon Repose, at Full Life New Testament Church of God, and then at my own home church in Mahika, Life Changers New Testament Church of God, and then in Belladrum, at the End Time Praise Tabernacle New Testament Church of God, and then went on from there, having some times of fellowship, prayer, and my particular prayer was in relation to order during the elections and the counting and all the processes thereafter, and for peace. So that's part of what I'm trying to do. Of course, I decided I was going to leave Facebook. If you look at the first video, you're going to see that. I was going to leave social media for the period running up to elections and after, until it settled down. For my own mental health, I decided not to, that I would stick around and try to be helpful. So this is me trying to be helpful. So this particular video is a call out to all of us to be peacemakers. So the to-do on this video is a relatively easy one. Well, easy in terms of organizing it. Much of what I'm sharing now were things that I had shared back in 2011. In that letter to the editor that I mentioned earlier. So, number one, let me say that if you a part of the over 95% of Guyanese who claim religious affiliation, at least, then you should spend time praying. It's great if you were doing that before. If you haven't been doing that, though, it's never too late to start. Prayer alone, prayer with your family, prayer with those of like faith, just prayer. A biblical reference that I remind you of, and I use biblical references because that's where my greatest familiarity lies and where my faith lies. The Bible says that the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So we are praying. But I remind you that the Bible also says faith without works is dead. So we pray in faith, but we also need to act in faith. So you can't just pray and do nothing else. The second thing is to, I'd say, go out and vote. How does voting result in being a peacemaker? Well, I think you make your voice heard when you vote. I think you ought to have some kind of conviction. I think earlier today I made a post about a how we make decisions essentially, and that might be useful. I'll see if I pop a link. I don't know if I could, but I'll see if I pop a link for that in the description for this particular video. But vote. Let your voice be heard. Your voice will go towards the outcome. You don't vote. You simply choose not to act in relation to where you are convicted, or maybe convinced. The peace for Guyana will come, or the leadership most of Guyana will come where it will come from. I know a lot of people are fearful of voting. You may think it doesn't matter, um, but really you should get out there and do it. If we don't have sometimes we look for things and might not be finding it. You might not have gotten the kind of information you want, or whatever it might be, your primary criteria for making your choice. But it may be secondary criteria. Don't compromise anything, but you should get out there, vote, and make a choice. Third thing, as you're going about today, if you don't have a particular uniform that you need to wear, and even if you have a strong political affiliation. The last time I shared this one, I suggested that perhaps if you have a strong enough affiliation that dictates that you wear something that is in line with party colors or whatever, that you might not, you can think of yourself as exempt. But I thought about that again. I think whether you have strong affiliations or not, I think it's important that, the electioneering is done. You really can't be campaigning today. So just put things aside. Wear a white top or wear all over white, if you can, as a symbol of peace, as a symbol of unity. If you have an outfit that has all the colors of the flag, perhaps you can choose to do that too. But put away the party colors, put away these affiliations, and let's work for peace, work for Guyana. Next thing I would say is that as you take steps to be a peacemaker, encourage others that you have contact with to also be peacemakers, to come on board, to work together for a peace of Guyana, that we'll have orderly elections, that we'll have peaceful elections, results announced, government takes a seat. There's nothing that goes outside of order and peace. And the next thing I would say is that we should be vigilant, be watchful, Bible a verse like that, because it says, because your enemy is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. But be vigilant. Look out to see where there may be things happening outside of the order. Make sure you validate. I need a caution in this age again, as in the video on cognitive biases. I would have mentioned a lot of fake news and old news coming up, pretending to be new and all of that stuff. We have a past. We have a past that's not pleasant. But I hope nobody today would resurrect that past and pretend as if it's our present. I say you be watchful, be vigilant, and then actively thwart anything that will disturb peace and order. Make your voice be heard, calling for peace, if ever and wherever, and I'd even say whenever there is unrest of any kind. Next thing I would say is to get some patriotic music played from your homes, played from your cars. If you're driving on the road playing music, a lot of people like to have loud music blasting out their windows. I hear some of it. You may hear some of it on this recording as they're passing outside of my house. But play some patriotic music, national anthem, hymn for Guyana's children, let us cooperate, get some stuff and put it on blast, put that on blast. You can change your ringtone, put in a national song, put in a national anthem. And then as you're representing, as you fly banners, instead of flying any kind of political banner, any kind of political flag over your car, over your home, fly the national flag, fly a white flag that just says peace, you know. Again, put aside those political differences. The time for that is over. And then finally, I would say that if you are a religious leader, I have my biases, of course. I think religion has a significant role in our society. So if you're a religious leader, um, and you have your own building, you have a building under your control, it would be nice to keep the doors open, day of prayer. We're on a holiday. So have a day of prayer, but let the door be open. Um, Let it be a place that people can come in and pray. Um, Let it be a place of refuge if ever anyone needs to feel safe. Um, let your religious building, your religious spaces be accessible to comfort those that may be comfortless, and help to bring peace. And with that, God bless Guyana.